I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again. We're in Scranton, Pennsylvania at the Simplex plant where our modular house is being built. Today we're going to look at all the basics, how these different boxes are built, building the floor systems as well as the wall systems and the roof systems. And we'll take a look at how they build the staircases and the newel posts. Stick around. It's good to have you home again. Our modular home is being built here at the Simplex plant in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Let's go inside and meet Dave Bonello to take a close look at the whole assembly process. Well, we're touring the plant here with Dave Bonello, who's the Vice President of Marketing. And this looks like pretty traditional work that they're doing here, ripping down sheets of plywood, but boy, we're out of the weather.
Oh, it's great, Bob. What we're doing here is we have parts lists that come down from our engineering department that give these guys a work list for their day's work. And they're basically taking all different size plywood, half, three-quarter, cutting it to the sizes and the quantities that are required, putting it on buggies and shipping it over into other departments.
Okay.
But again, it's great. It's out of the weather and there's no problem.
What happens with all the waste?
Well, we have a strict recycling program. We work with our lumber suppliers on lumber and plywood, and a lot of that stuff is put in buggies and shipped back to them when they're delivering us material.
So it's recycled?
Yes.
What's going on over at this station?
Well, Joe's cutting headers, and basically the plywood strips are being cut to length for the headers, and Joe's cutting 2x10s for
the headers. Are the elements of the frame that are horizontal, structural, and usually over the window openings or the door openings.
That's correct.
So these are all pre-cut, and they have to be doubled up.
Yeah, we still build headers the old-fashioned way, Bob. It's a solid header with three pieces of framing with 2 pieces of plywood sandwiched and nailed together.
All right, so there he is putting in the piece of plywood in between them, and that's done to build up the thickness of it so that it matches up to 2x4 walls. Right. Tell me something. There's so much lumber. How do you keep track? I mean, how many houses are being built at one time?
Well, in the entire building, Bob, we're working on anywhere from 8 to 10 houses a day. These guys could be generally cutting lumber for 1 to 2 houses at a time.
Wow. All right, so once you've got all of your pieces pre-cut, what happens next?
Well, Bob, we come over here to our framing tables. As you can see, there's a top plate and a bottom plate that are laid out.
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about the framing tables. There are 2 platforms here that are how long?
Well, we're building walls anywhere from 30 to 64 feet generally for any of the houses we build. So they're quite large walls.
Yeah.
And this table here is usually the outside wall, which is always a 2x6 wall for our products. And then the mating wall, or the marriage wall as we call it, which could be a 2x3 or a 2x4 wall, is generally built on that other large table over there.
Okay, so 2x6 is always the case for exterior walls.
Yes, our products are all 2x6 walls.
And the table is basically set up at this end with a couple of angle irons to kind of create a jig so that you always start off square, huh?
So generally it's a square jig. We place all the material down in there.
Is the box always the same height?
No. We're building 8-foot ceilings, 9-foot ceilings. We've even gone as high as built some things with 10-foot ceilings.
Well, our particular house has a high ceiling in some sections.
It's a custom box, and it's not 10-foot high studs, but it's very unique study.
Right. So just like on a regular job, they lay everything out. They put all the studs on 16-inch centers.
Typically, Bob, we're building products for different marketplaces, so we do build 16 and 24 on center products. Generally, this particular product we're working on is 16 on center. The house for the Berkshires naturally was 16 on center, so we are flexible depending on the marketplace we're building in.
Now, Dave, what's the purpose of all the metal that's stapled on here?
Again, it's something unique for our industry, Bob. What we're doing here is we're putting metal plates on the headers and tying it to the jack and full stud, and again on the sill, tying it to the jack and full stud. And the beauty of this is it's going to help prevent any stressing and pulling in the transportation and the setting of the units that could add to drywall cracking.
Great. So this is unusual. We're actually putting the drywall onto the surface of the stud wall at this stage.
Yes, Bob. It's something unique for our industry. What we do is We actually build a house from the inside out. In the stick-built industry, you build a house, you frame it, and you sheathe it from the outside in.
Yeah.
But we're going to place the drywall on again. It's on a table. The wall's been squared up, and then we'll place the drywall on top of the studs and screw it down. It's actually glued and screwed down.
What kind of adhesive is it that you're using?
It's a PL200 adhesive.
Okay. Oh, that's clever. So you've just got a dolly that's got the stacks of drywall on it, and it moves down the table and delivers the drywall to wherever you need it.
Oh, yeah, again, Bob, everything is built on speed in this process, so bringing the material as close to the workers as possible helps speed the process, and it also helps reduce the lifting, which could create back injuries.
Right, everything is up at almost a desk height,
Yeah,
so you're not bending over and picking up at any point.
Exactly.
Well, it's pretty impressive the speed at which they're working around here. And of course, the drywall screws are mounted in these magazines, and the air guns just put them in there very quickly. Now, you're just reaching a point over here where you've got a window opening. And I guess two things. Do you just sheet right over it and then cut it out?
Yes, we will, Bob. We'll actually sheet over the entire wall, take a router with a cutting bit on it, and just get a nice clean cut around the windows.
Now, this is pretty impressive. You've just basically put in these big eye bolts in here so that you can crane the thing away.
Exactly.
What happens next?
Well, we pick it up with the hoist, and we bring it up, and we store it over into that wall storage area.
Then tomorrow they'll be put together as a box.
They'll be picked up again and hoisted over onto the assembly line and dropped down on top of the walls, or on top of the floors.
Takes some good planning.
Yes, it does. We've been doing it a long time. We're getting real good at it now.
All right, now Dave, we're basically looking at the assembly process here where you're putting the pre-manufactured walls together to create a box. What's the first step?
Well, the first step, like anything else, is starting with the floor system. And we're building basically a rectangle, sometimes with some odd cutouts in it, but basically it's a rectangular floor. And we'll frame it out of either 2x8s or 2x10s, depending on the framing designation for that product.
I like this term marriage wall. This is, since we're putting together separate boxes, wherever the boxes are joined together, you call it a marriage.
Marriage wall or mating wall, yes.
Now, what about the roof frame?
We're building our roof systems on a table, and we're basically putting the drywall face down and framing on top of that.
Let me ask you a question about inspectional services. I mean, if you're selling a manufactured house in Massachusetts, how do they sign off on wiring and plumbing and the like?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, the building inspector isn't able to come here to the factory and check the boxes out. So we use an independent third-party system. It's unique in our industry. It's done and it's accepted in all states. And that third party is basically reviewing our plans and then taking the plans out onto the production line and making sure that the boxes are built in accordance to the plans which they review and they approve.
When we come back, we'll start finish work on the interior of the modular house with some wall primer. All right, Dave, what's this contraption over here?
Well, Bob, this is called a bazooka.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're a little bit familiar with it. It's used in the spackle process. Again, everything we do here is tied into speed. So again, this contraption helps us to install the spackle and the tape at the same time in a much faster process than you would do if you were doing each process
So you call
manually.
it spackle, I call it joint compound.
Joint
it's the same
compound,
thing, right?
thing. That's true.
Okay. And so
you'll see here that he's going to start the process and he'll just walk right along, tape and the mud coming out at the same time. And then we'll follow up this process with the swiper.
yeah, this is not the kind of tool that the average do-it-yourselfer is going to be using.
No, it's not.
I don't know if you can rent them, but
I'm sure you probably can, but it's something that takes some time
it
to
takes
master.
some practice to master
Absolutely.
using it. Right.
Absolutely.
So, is it quick drying spackle?
A lot of the stuff we use here, Bob, it does have additives in it to help to speed up the drying process because again, we're building a house in a lot quicker time frame than the average stick builder would be.
And you're taping it here at one station, and then does it get a second coat?
It's going to get 2 more coats.
2 more coats.
Okay, and that's going to happen over the rest of the day.
Okay, so once you've had, what, 3 coats of spackling or joint compound?
Yes, Bob.
You're at the sanding point here.
Right. We're finishing up our sanding here. They've gone through with their pole sanders, and now they're just fine sanding. And once...
Don't you have to worry about a lot of this cracking while it's being taken down the roadway?
Well, we always have to worry about it, Bob, and that's why we go back to all that screwing, nailing, and metal straps that we've been putting on all along. That's to help prevent this cracking in process.
Sure. And so at this end of the box, they're already painting.
Yeah, Bob, what we do, it's the process we have, it's a spray process. The first gentleman's spraying, and then once the spray process is done, we back roll it.
What is back rolling?
Well, back roll is he's following it up with a large 12-inch wide roller, and what he's doing is put a texture onto the wall after it's sprayed.
And you can get, this is just primer, so you don't get any finishes, right?
No, it's just a primer.
Okay, what's next?
What's next? We're going to go and see some finishes.
Next, the staircase specialist builds a rather complicated detail for our modular house. All right, so now once they are put together, they come out into this lot, and you've got all the boxes out here almost ready to roll, right?
Right. What happens is we get the boxes to a point where they're weather tight and we can bring them outside. Any kind of specialty finishes that we have to do, we'd work on outside to keep the line moving and not slow down the pace inside.
What kind of specialty finishes?
Oh, it could be anything from specialty countertops. In this particular case, we're working on stairs.
Oh, great. All right, so Dave, this is our front hall in this box.
Yes, Bob, I want to take you in and show you the stair that our stairman here, Doc, is working on.
Hi, Doc, how are you?
I don't know.
So you are the staircase specialist?
Yes, I am.
And tell us about what you're building here.
Well, actually, this is a all-open stair with oak treads, pine risers, pine stringers. Evidently, they're going to be painting all that and staining the treads.
And staining the treads?
Yes, sir. And then we're doing a little glitch on the bottom. We're converting.
Well, before you get to the bottom, what happens at the top? I mean, this is one module, and there'll be another box or module attached to the top of it, right?
Right, Bob. What happens in modular stair systems generally on a 2-story, because the ceiling is separate from the floor above, when the second floor box goes into place, that stair then will just be lifted up to meet the floor deck.
So that'll
of the
be
second
installed in
floor.
the field?
Yes. That's
Okay.
how it'll ship for shipping purposes.
Okay, it'll ship just like that. Do most modular companies build their own staircases?
No, actually, Bob, probably most companies don't build their stairs. You know, they either have them made by a stair company or they just let the builder make them job site.
Okay.
That's what separates us a little bit from our competitors and even stick builders. We're building a stair system here that really isn't your typical average stair by any means.
All right, so Doc, does that mean you have your own dedicated staircase shop here at the plant?
Yes, I do.
What sort of things do you do there?
Well, I get all my prints from the drafting, and they tell me how to make the stair, whether it be pine, all pine stair, oak treads, all oak stair. A lot of times they have it with the volute on the bottom, with the curly Q step on the bottom.
Right.
And we also do that. And if a stair calls for a railing, let's say like a cape design, we also put the railing on the stair. So when they install it in the back of the plant, the railing is on already.
All right, so we've interrupted you. What were you working on?
Well, actually, that's what I was trying to say before. Is there's a little quirk here. What we're doing with this particular, on my bottom 2 treads and risers, we're shooting this back, and I'm going to dead end my stair approximately 1.5 feet beyond.
So that's what this little stringer is?
Yes, sir.
I see. So this one's going to go here?
Actually, that's going to go like this here.
Like that.
And I'm going to dead end my 2 risers and my bottom tread. And then what we're going to do is cantilever my second tread to attach into this one here and change it into a window seat.
So this is going to receive like a bench?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's pretty complicated.
So all this is a continuation of my second tread from the bottom coming over. And I'm just trying to see how my joints look
Looks pretty good.
with the wall and the second tread. And then I was going to just give a look-see for my stringer and see how that was going to fit underneath.
Put a hand on it for you.
Thank you. See how that's going to be. So everything's going to dead end from this particular stair coming over here. Just eyeing that up. It looks like we're going to have a nice setup here.
So, Doc, in order to make sure these don't squeak, you've got a nice little box of wedges and things there, right?
Yes, that's what we do, Bob. We route out our stairs to accept the wedges so we can wedge them, like you said, so they don't squeak, and which makes for a real nice stair.
So there's a little glue used, and then some brads will be shot in just like these.
That wedge is only representing my tread coming up.
That is the purpose of the wedge.
Hold everything in place. They're dovetail bits that hold them in place. Dovetail router bits.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a dovetail with a 7-degree angle on it. So when the wedge is working, it's pushing against that angle, so nothing should ever move. Thank you, Bob.
You make all your miter cuts inside that shop, though, right?
Yes, I do. All my miter cuts on my stringers and my, basically my stringers are cut with the power saw.
All right, I'm acting as a human clamp here, but
Okay, Bob, what I'd like to do is dry fit my tread here. Nothing's going to be driven home until we see all of our parts put together first.
yeah.
It looks like a nice, good fit.
That looks pretty good, yeah.
Okay, next we're going to try our bottom riser.
And Dave's got it over
We
here.
already had that cut to size. It's our bottom rise.
Okay, so that's the last riser. And now we start to see the geometry. The final oak tread will come around and turn around just like this one. And it's going to be a work of art. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you, Bob.
Boy. Well, Dave, thank you for the tour. It's been terrific.
It was my pleasure, Bob.
We'll be back in a moment with a preview of our next show. Stick around. And we got a front door, too. That's all she wrote. Come home again next week. We're going to be showing you how we install the kitchen cabinets, the hardwood flooring, and some windows. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again. Looking for help on your next project? Visit bobvila.com for everything you need to get the job done right. You'll find Home Again highlights, interactive tools for planning your next project, and helpful how-to articles for every room in your home. bobvila.com, the ultimate home site.